2021, where I interned for a period of 6 months in the wealth management sector, and then I then shifted to being an IT software engineer as a permanent employee in the HRIT recruiting space. And then I was involved in a lot of projects where I had to work on cost savings and deliver a lot of projects related to the tech side, obviously. But it's now been like 2 years at UBS. I did a CSR project as well, where I had to work with more than 70 refugees and have sessions with them and ensure that they also get jobs in MNCs just like mine. These were kind of, the significant things that I had done as a part of my career. But outside that, I also like to travel a lot. And I am a solo traveler and a scuba diver. So I traveled like to 12 countries last year on my own. And I also now have an advanced scuba diving license with me. That's just pretty much me outside of work. And I think a combination of all these experiences kind of have helped me becoming the person I am today.
Honestly, you're the first person I've come across who has a license for scuba diving. That's great. All right, so I want to ask you, how was your experience with MIMSA?
Actually, my experience with MIMSA was very positive, and it kind of truly helped me through the whole application process. I'd say, like, starting from the very beginning, like, they were very attentive. They just didn't throw generic advice by my way. They were not like, hey, we will do this. I have seen, like, initially also, I was looking for a consultant and I did check out a lot of websites, but I think what did catch my eye was the fact that they were more attentive to what I wanted, and they took time to understand my background and my goals. And then they were very supportive even in the university targeting. Like, they didn't make any assumptions about my dream schools or had some schools in their mind even before getting on a conversation. Just after reading my resume, they asked me, and they had a conversation to identify the universities that best aligned with my aspirations. And then they just went beyond the application requirements. They kind of helped me understand, what were my qualities and which schools were looking for those qualities. And then that's where I think they stood out for me. And I was then matched with a consultant, and I felt that I was in good hands, because she also ensured that she was involved throughout the process. And then there was also the content team working behind the scenes. And then she also gave me like personalized guidance throughout the process, but not just only as a part of my application, but she also ensured, I was doing well even at my career. She used to just ask me like, how are things at your workplace and all of that. So she kind of helped me craft like strong narratives that showcased my strengths and that were suitable for the programs that I was applying to. I think that's been my experience with MIMSA.
Okay, so moving forward, you had a content team and assigned content editor who were, helping you out with the edits and everything else. So how was that? I mean, because initially when you came to us, I believe at that point of time, your resume and essays were at an initial stage. First, you
Yeah.
took baby steps, and then the team helped you work on the documents. What growth did you basically see till the date you got the finalized document?
I think as a professional or somebody who just came from college, and my resume was actually not very updated. I had an old resume that I had like 2 years back, and it was more towards contributing to projects and did not really showcase me as somebody who was leading projects, but was somebody just participating in college projects and not something that was very up to date. So they kind of ensured that they used the right keywords, and they also used like a way to show that, hey, I'm not just somebody who was contributing, but I was also a part of driving those changes. And I think that's where they used the right set of keywords. They kind of highlighted the best parts of my career, and that's something that was very helpful. Like, as I saw that there were like 3 to 4 edits even done till we got to the last stage of my resume also. So I think it was genuinely a good help even for me. Like, I would definitely use those tips even when I refine my resume in the future too.
All right. Okay. So, my next question to you would be, because you already, spoken a bit about your consultant. So, how was it? Because you had your point of contact, who was helping you out at all point of time, basically. Then you had a content team, which we discussed, and then you had your consultant. So, how, apart from the content team, how were the services you got with your POC and of course your consultant?
So, my POC was Harjot and my consultant was Navneet. Although I'm not sure if I'm allowed to take names, but I think they were extremely, extremely supportive. They would first ask me, like, hey, are you available at this time? Can we like have a conversation on how we should even approach to these questions that the universities are asking? So, initially, Harjot would get on a call with me and he'd kind of, try to understand which school I'm aiming to for first instead of like, going parallelly for five schools and trying to answer all questions at once. We were doing one thing at a time, but we ensured that we were doing the best efforts that we had, and we kind of ensured that we did have that initial call where we would sit and first strategize on how we are even going to answer these questions. Like, how should the structure look like, and which parts should we highlight for this question, and
Hmm.
which part maybe we should skip or keep it for some other question. But they ensured that every part came out, but in different questions and in different forms of answers. So that was something that we had on our initial strategic calls. And then from then, when I was ready with my first draft, we would then go to the content team. So they would also look at from a, let's say, a third point of view, as like, let's say, from an AdCom point of view, and they would also give their views, and they would ask like probing questions like, hey, is it just only this, or maybe was there something else that you could add on, let's say, from not just with social work, but also like from another project where we could bring out some other aspect of your application. Because I had only 2 years of experience and not a lot to reflect upon, but they always ensured that even in these 2 years they wanted to focus more on what I had achieved in these 2 years itself, and kind of bring out the stronger side of it instead of looking at it as, okay, there's just 2 years and there's not a lot to dwell upon. They always ensured that I spoke more about the fact that even in these 2 years, I had a lot to bring to the table. So
Got
that
it.
is something they focused on, and that's where my consultant helped me understand. And she was also telling about how other kids were approaching to their answers and how it really works and how it was for her when she was applying at
Hmm.
ISB. That kind of helped, because to have somebody who's always done this and who's also been through the same process, it was very helpful to get an answer on, okay, now I know that she's also been through the same thing. Now she probably knows how to help me further as well. So I think that was really, really helpful.
Okay, that's really great. I have one last question for you. So now there are a lot of young minds out there, who are in the process of studying abroad, like who thinking that we should apply abroad.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe they are students out there who are currently in their undergraduation, or maybe people, who have taken gap years to prepare for the master's journey. So what is that one piece of advice that you would like to give to them, right? That they should keep in their mind while they're in the process of applying. And would you recommend them our services?
Oh, I think I would answer the second question first. I would highly recommend MIM to them because, again, eventually it's up to them whether or not they should take the
Yeah.
services, and it depends on an individual's needs and resources. But based on my experience, I would highly recommend considering a consultation call and then understand if it's a good fit for them. Like, I would tell them to first take that initial call that is free, and that's just offering a low risk opportunity to learn how more they can be benefited from the services and see if they are a good fit. And then also another thing I would say is to have an understanding of their ambition even before their call, so that they won't be pressured into anything and they can just focus and have like a casual call about their understanding of their goals and aspirations for their studies later on. It will then help both of them to decide and to make like informed decisions of whether this is like the right fit, and it will help you to just get to your best university. But I think it will also empower you not just as somebody who wants to do an MBA, but even in your professional life. I think it was very helpful for me because they kept asking me probing questions, because sometimes I was on calls even on weekends and I was telling them, hey, I'm just, not in a good mood today. Can we like reschedule and all of that? So they kind of helped me just take it, but without any pressure and all of that. So I'd say take that consultation call first and then decide if it's a good fit. But if it comes to me, I'd do it again.
Okay, one more last question. Which have you chosen, Cornell or Oxford?
I haven't really made that choice yet, but I did have a call with Rohit sir, and he did tell me about the pros and cons and how I should look at it. I
Mhm.
think mostly I'd pick Oxford because I do want to go back to working in 1 year, and
Hmm.
since I do have an offer in the back end that from my own company, I do have a backup plan. So I
Okay.
think I would take that leap of faith with a 1 year MBA, considering that I have a backup option, and for the fact that I just want to go back to working sooner, I think I'd take the Oxford one.
Okay, that's great. That's great. I'm really happy for you because these are two big universities. And yeah, thank you so much for having this call and taking out your precious time and devoting it here.
Thank you so much.